Ohio State is now 10-0 after a 48-10 win over UCLA. And you know what time it is. It's takeaways time. Less than 15 minutes. Here we go. There's no timer. We just need to be better at this. We need to be pros.
Yes.
November is here. It's time to separate the contenders from the pretenders. Which one are we going to be? Gillis, you get to go first. Good. Biggest takeaway.
I literally have like 7 things I want to mention, so I want Gillis to go first.
You want people to take away things?
Yes,
so like,
yes.
okay.
So I can only mention 5.
That's a fair point. That's why I go last in these videos, by the way. Gillis, take something away.
Take something away. I think this is going to be this was a very big night, and it's going to be a very big next 7 days for receivers not named Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate. Jeremiah Smith hobbled. I think NBC picked it up. He was kind of
NBC picked it up. Everybody in the building picked it up.
Get the text,
Get the text, man.
We had it before NBC did.
We saw it when he walked in the building.
Yeah, we had it before NBC did. Keep that in mind. But Jeremiah Smith kind of hobbling, looked like kind of a right leg thing going on. He's walking up the tunnel, not great. Carnell Tate obviously did not play. Brandon Innes had like a wrap on his shoulder was like an ice pack on his shoulder in the post-game press conference room when we all talked to him. Those are their top 3 receivers. And those guys are all banged up to some degree. Obviously, Carnell didn't play. JJ very much felt like let's get you a couple of reps, get loose, run around out there. Now that the score is out of reach, have a nice seat on the bench and enjoy the rest of the football game. Brandon Innes played a lot. Brandon Innes, I don't think, came out until it was like officially decided, probably like when the starters typically would come out. But you are now kind of dealing with this situation where you've got 2 weeks from today is the Michigan game. Mylan Graham played a lot. Like, this is a big Bryson Rogers week. Quincy Porter.
Mick just got me.
Like, Mylan Graham, Bryson Rogers, Quincy Porter. I'll even throw the tight ends in there. Like, Max Clare had a walk-in touchdown or Julian Sand missed him. Maybe you get more kind of tight ends down the line. Bennett Christian. Guys that are not the big 2 and maybe even big 3, getting them involved here over these next 7 days I think is important. You mentioned it in our other video. Mylan Graham going up, trying to make a jump ball catch, not coming down with it. You hope he learns from a situation like that, because you're looking at this right now, and maybe they're 100% healthy by the Michigan game. Maybe they're not. And you want to be as fully healthy for that game as possible, but you want to have those guys ready just in case something bad should happen in that game or down the line, right? Or maybe next year, right? They can use this experience that they are taking now and put it towards 14 days in Ann Arbor. They can put it towards 21 days maybe in Indianapolis, a month and a half in the playoff, 10 months down the line next year, right? Like, this experience can be valuable for that host of receivers that we saw play today, because Ohio State's top 3 receivers are not 100% healthy right now. And those guys that are kind of down the line are going to have to learn some things and step up, whether that's for an immediate need, whether that's for an immediacy that Ohio State needs those guys, or whether this is when you start next year against, I think it's Kent State, you have this experience built in. So this is valuable for the short and long term.
I think it's interesting that both Ohio State and Michigan are kind of dealing with some injury issues to, like, essentially one of the engines of their offenses. That's a crazy thing to think about. And they're both starting 5-star freshman quarterbacks, one a true freshman, one a redshirt freshman. Stefan, take some. Apparently, you have 7 different things. I'm assuming one of them was that. So you have 6 other things to choose from. Choose 3 of them.
Yeah. Okay.
So excited.
Okay, I was going to do a couple things on the offensive line, or defensive line, but I'm clumping it into one defensive line thing. Caden Curry and Kenyatta Jackson are amazing. They were outstanding today. And we noticed a rotation that's kind of interesting that I think is a sign of Edric Houston taking another step, right? We saw when they would kind of change things up and go with only one defensive tackle on the field, we would see Kenyatta Jackson, Caden McDonald, Caden Curry moving to the inside, and Bo Atkinson at defensive end. What we saw today was Caden McDonald come off the field, and it was Kenyatta Jackson, Edric Houston on the inside, Caden Curry staying on the outside, and then Arvell Reese kind of just doing whatever Arvell Reese wants to do, and Sonny Styles.
Yeah, him and Sonny just kind of pick a gap.
Right. So that's the defensive line thing. I just think this defensive line is just so fascinating because we just didn't see a lot of this last year, and I don't think it was necessarily wrong because the 4 guys you had all got drafted into the NFL. I just think the versatility and the way Matt Patricia and Larry Johnson are working on this is so fascinating. And you know what? I'm going to clump one more thing into that because I mentioned Sonny and Arvell. They're both so good to where Sonny made a play, and I kind of looked at you guys. It lights out. Sonny made a play where I kind of looked at you guys and I was like, Arvell is so good that we kind of forget that Sonny Styles also might just be a first-round pick. Like there was a Patriots scout, in the press box, and we were like, well, they're not looking at Carnell because they're going to draft like 27th. And Steven was like, what if they were looking at Sonny Styles? It's like, you know what? That could be really true. I think that's it for my defensive things. Okay. That's it for my defensive things. I'll go 2 offensive things. Running backs, James Peoples is like, he's becoming part of the conversation again, right? And it's interesting because I don't think Bo Jackson's exiting the conversation. I don't think Isaiah West is exiting the conversation. C.J. Donaldson was out today, but I don't think he's exiting the conversation. We talked about on Buckeye Talk earlier this week, like, Ohio State doesn't have to dwindle from 4 options if all 4 options are good and they're finding a rhythm. And all 3 guys, I thought, to some extent today, found a bit of a rhythm, right? Isaiah West, I think, broke one of 10-plus yards. Bo Jackson had the one that went 30-plus. James Peoples hurdled a guy, which was so sick. So the running back room is I think, coming into form, and all 4 guys are part of the conversation. Last thing I'll say, you talked about how important the next 7 days are for the receivers not named, Brandon Inniss, Cardinal Tate, and Jeremiah Smith. We knew that this 2-week stretch here was going to be really important for right guard because you want an answer by Michigan, and the answer doesn't mean which guy is it going to be. It's either, is it going to be Tegra, is it going to be one guy, or is it going to be a rotation? Because this team has shown us you can rotate at right guard and win a national championship. I thought Gabe Van Sickle was awesome against UCLA, and they went 2 drives at a time. It was Tegra 2 drives, Gabe Van Sickle 2 drives, Tegra 2 drives. I almost feel like there's more questions now because what we saw from UCLA, I don't think Gabe Van Sickle leaves the conversation. But I think Josh Padilla, if he's healthy, and Ryan Day said after the Purdue game that Josh Padilla, if he doesn't play against UCLA, will play against Rutgers. Mm-hmm. So let's assume Josh Padilla, based on what we've heard from Ryan Day, is that he will play against Rutgers or at least be available against Rutgers. I don't think he's out of the conversation. What does a rotation look like against Rutgers? Because if you want to give Josh Padilla a chance, I don't think you can eliminate Gabe Van Sickle from the conversation. And now you've got 3 guys trying to give you an answer 1 week out from Michigan. As opposed to, I think we all thought, like, okay, Rutgers game is when they're going to solidify it. And now it's like, well, there's a new guy joining the mix because a new guy just joined the mix. So what does it look like? Because I don't think Tegra Shabola was that bad against UCLA, to be honest. We all know that his problem is inconsistency because he was awesome against Penn State, not so much against Purdue. And we know, based on last year's playoff, that maybe rotation is when he's at his best. I think the UCLA game probably backed it up a bit. I think you got 3 guys. If Josh Padilla plays well, right? If he plays well and kind of plays the level that we think he can play at, you've got 3 guys there. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. Is it a 3-man rotation? We haven't seen them do that. We've seen them do a 3-man rotation where left guard is also involved. I don't think they're taking out Luke Montgomery. So you've potentially got 3 guys who give you viable options there. I just thought Gabe Van Sickle made this a very interesting conversation, and I don't know if I expected that. And I think now we know that Ethan Onwenu was not part of the conversation because when he came in, it was garbage time at left guard.
I think your best ability is
Yeah, I did okay.
You did. I think your best ability is availability. That's my answer to the Josh Padilla question at this point. Like, you got 1 more game until you play Michigan. You watched a lot of the right guard stuff. I didn't, and I almost want us to do that for Monday because, like, yeah, that's kind of it. That's it. All right. Right guard was a problem against Michigan last year, and it sounds like they've got 3 different solutions. And what's their best one? So I want to dive into that on the Monday pod. I have 2 things. 2 very different ends of the spectrum, though. So I'll start with this one. Not a great day for Devin Sanchez. No. Not a great day. Here's why it's a valuable day for Devin Sanchez, though. And I said this to you, and I said it to Berm. When Devin Sanchez's role in the actual defense, like meaningful snaps, first-team defense right now, is in 3rd and long situations when they go with that dime look you're talking about or the nickel look you're talking about, when Jermaine comes inside, and he's the other inside corner alongside with Lorenzo Styles. And essentially Devin replaces Jermaine outside. Jermaine's the field corner. So Devin's playing field corner with the 1s in those situations. When he is with the 2s in garbage time, and I've noticed it a lot of times over the last couple of weeks here because they've been playing a lot of garbage time because they've been blowing teams out. He's playing boundary, which is like the Davison Igbinosun. That's cornerback 1 role. That's our best corner. He's playing backside of the formation, guarding the other team's X receiver. Those are 2 very different positions. One of which is this is your role because you're a true freshman and you know that we know we can trust you in this role. Has it been perfect? No. He's 18 years old. It's not going to be perfect. That's kind of the point here, but it's going to grow over time here. Sure, Texas tested him a couple times. Sure, he's been tested in other games, but it hasn't burned Ohio State, so keep doing it. Keep throwing that 5-star out there in that role and letting him figure it out. I love that he got burned in the garbage time and gave up the touchdown. You want to know why I love it? Because in 8 months, they're going to need him to do that role. Not the role he's doing right now. The boundary cornerback 1 role, that is easily his role in 8 months. When they play Kent State, when they play Texas, that's his role. And corner is not an easy position to learn. Wide receiver is significantly easier for an 18-year-old 5-star freshman to come in here and learn how to play than an 18-year-old 5-star freshman is at cornerback, which is why what Derek Stingley did at LSU in 2019 was so out of this world, because that's not normal. As a freshman, I don't care how talented you are, and I don't care what your athletic background is, but those are valuable reps. Ryan Day was talking about that after the Purdue game of, do you live with that stuff? Yes, you have to, because you need Devin to be ready. You need him over the next 2 to 3 years of his life here. So if him getting burned in garbage time snaps against UCLA is the reason why he locks up Ryan Wingo against Texas, I mean, we're all going to go, man, remember back when Devin Sanchez was learning how to play the position against UCLA and it didn't look good? Well, it looks good now, doesn't it? So listen, I'm driving the pre-bus for Devin Sanchez.
Driving the motorcade.
And people have been getting on me in the press box about it. I believe in you, Devin.
Say one more thing.
Go ahead.
The special teams, like 2-3 straight games where they've been really good. Like, not hurt them, help them.
No, like weapons.
Yeah.
Like, and it's good to see that happening. The block punt, I'm
block
not
punt,
giving
no,
you that.
no,
I'm not giving
no.
you that. But Lorenzo,
When you go to kick to your right and the ball goes left, that's not.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
not.
hits you in the stomach. I don't know if it qualifies as a block.
yeah, I'm not giving you that. But Lorenzo Styles
Robert
with
tackle, though.
the first kick return for a touchdown since Jordan Hall in 2010. That's a pretty big deal. That's a great thing. My other thing, and it's to piggyback off of your thing with the receivers. I completely understand why Ohio State fans are unnecessarily freaking out about this. I get it. It's unnecessary, it's lunatic fringy, and it's a bit ridiculous, but it is coming from a place of experience, whether it's Nick Bosa leaving the TCU game in 2018 and never to be seen again because he tore up his abdomen, or it's Jackson Smith-Njigba in 2022 where he has the hamstring injury right over there on that sideline against Notre Dame, comes back 2 weeks later against Toledo, plays a little bit, doesn't look great, takes a month off, comes back against Iowa, pops it again on a slot fade, and we never see him again. Or it's 2020 when Trey Sermon finally figured it out, and then he tears up his collarbone in the national championship game. Or even Emeka Egbuka in 2023, never really looking right. I mean, last year, the offensive line, right? You lose Josh Simmons in your first big game of the season, and then like 3 days before you play Indiana, you lose Seth McLaughlin. And they figured some of those things out, and other ones didn't. But there's a lot of people out there who probably think back to 2022 and go, if Jackson Smith-Njigba was healthy, and you pair that with Marvin Harrison Jr. and Emeka Egbuka, that team wins a national championship. The defense in 2018 was horrid. But imagine if you had Nick Bosa to cover up some of those issues, right? I'm not saying it would have been an elite defense, but when you got a dude who you know is about to be an NFL Defensive Player of the Year candidate every single year that he's healthy in the NFL, plus Chase Young on the other end, it changes the math about some things, right? So injuries happen. That's part of it. I get it. So Ohio State's not exclusive to injuries. They're not the first team ever to lose a superstar to an injury, and they're not going to be the last team to lose a superstar to injury. But the freakouts on Friday night before the game where you're worried about what's going on with Carnell Tate, the fact that I don't even know how many of us watched the game in the second half versus just looked at number 4 on the sideline kind of limping around and whatnot. Their season depends on those two guys. Like we said, Julian Sand, Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate, and this defense are why they are going to win a national championship. Do they need a run game? Yes. Do they need the right guard spot to be a little bit more solidified? Yes. Do they need other wide receivers to be threats? Yes. Does Max Clare need to start being in Julian Sand's eye line so he can start getting some stats? Yes. All those things are true, but those are about floor. The championship ceiling, as we saw against Penn State, and as we saw in one touchdown pass against Texas, runs through those 3 individuals. And when 2 of the 3 individuals don't finish the game 2 weeks before you play Michigan, completely understandable why you're freaking out. Ryan Day said that there's not expected to be long-term things. Brandon Innes even got asked about it. He was like, no, there's no reason to be worried about those things yet. But it's a level of reassurance that's not going to have to go away until they get on the field with Michigan. And the entire pregame, we're going to be going, Jeremiah Smith did this. Carnell Tate did that. There was no limp in his route. Jeremiah Smith on a Wednesday night practice, we did see him. There was nothing around his leg. Carnell Tate also looks like he practiced. That's the world we're living in now, because this is no longer, I don't think there's a threat outside the building to Ohio State winning a national championship. And some of it is because how good this team is, but we keep watching every other team around the country fumble over itself and not look that good. Gillis always says that if nobody's good, then if everybody stinks, then nobody stinks, and if everybody's good, nobody's good.
Not quite. I we can't look at college football and be like, wow, this is so great. What a sport. Everybody can beat anybody. And then when a certain result happens, when South Carolina goes up big on A&M, we're like, A&M must be awful. Or when Wisconsin and Indiana are kind of having a rock fight at the end of the first half, we're like, Indiana must not be that good.
But what if they're all mid together?
Does that mean they're just good?
No, what I'm saying.
We're over 15, by the way.
Who cares? We're here. I think there's one team that is clearly a tier above everybody else. I think that's where we've all agreed with.
And that doesn't make them unbeatable. It just means they're better, right?
Right. And so if you're looking for ways for them to be vulnerable, right guard probably is a little bit of a vulnerability, but is it a vulnerability anybody can take advantage of? Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate not being as healthy as humanly possible for where we are in the season, because nobody's 100%. But if you're supposed to be 85% right now, if they're 45% right now, and that's speculation, I'm not saying they are or they aren't, but that's a vulnerability that somebody can take advantage of, because all of a sudden your superpower is not that super. And that matters. So it's I don't think any fan out there who is freaking out because you're thinking, oh, it's happening again, our superstars are getting hurt at the worst possible time, you're right to freak out. I get it. Wait for more information. Don't jump off the ledge. But I understand. Don't believe everything you see. But it needs to be said that you understand where that fear is coming from, because recent history shows you that it can very easily be taken away from you just when you're about to get the thing you want. 614-350-3315, 2-week free trial, $3.99 after that. We'll have updates on Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate on Tuesday when we talk with Ryan Day about it. We'll have more updates on Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate when we're in the building on Wednesday. We'll have more updates on Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate next week when we're watching them play Rutgers. We'll have more updates on Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate literally every time we can give you one, because that's the most important thing now, is making sure 4 and 17 are ready to play football when this team has Ann Arbor in 2 weeks. 614-350-3315. 2-week free trial, $3.99 after that. Steven, Stefan, Andrew, Ohio State 48-10 over UCLA. See ya.